Hey cool kids, another walk, another comic walk today. Thought I would talk about another character today that's one of my favorites that I don't talk about frequently because there's really no new material being published for this character. It's just kind of older books from the golden age that I collect for this book. It's Dick Tracy, another favorite character of mine. The first introduction I had to that character was the movie from, I guess it was 91. That is when I first got introduced to that character, the Warren Beatty movie. That movie I think still holds up, by the way, just as good as like Batman 89. I could watch Dick Tracy over and over. And it's one of those movies where it's very stylized, and that's why it's eye-catching, right? It's very colorful. Dick Tracy got the yellow hat, the yellow trench coat. Got Sam Catchum, he's wearing the orange. And then the villains are just over the top and so comic booky that you can't help but like fall in love with those characters. Big Boy Caprice, Flat Top Mumbles. You know, these are iconic characters for that franchise. But even I think going back, they're iconic characters for golden age comic books and newspaper comic strips. And I just, I always loved the movie. And eventually I got into collecting the toys and the old comics. I have like a Dick Tracy #1, like his first actual comic. I think it was a Dell comic, maybe, I forget. But I think that might have been the publisher. But it was a character that doesn't get any love today because they can't make a new movie out of it. Warren Beatty owns the rights to the character's movies. And if he doesn't make the movie, nobody can. So that's why we haven't seen a new Dick Tracy movie since 1990. So what's really interesting about that too is, look both ways before we cross the street, is every so often on like Turner Movie Classics or one of those kind of stations that play older movies, Warren Beatty will do like a half-hour Dick Tracy sort of special. There was one not that long ago. Because if he doesn't keep producing content for Dick Tracy, he loses the rights to make the movies. So he has to do that like every 10 years or so. Something like that. And it's the only reason why we don't have a new Dick Tracy movie is because of Warren Beatty. And which kind of sucks, because if you look at like a Sin City movie, you apply that kind of cinematography and writing and stylization to a Dick Tracy franchise, and it's going to be awesome. Think about an all black and white movie with the yellow pops. Would be really cool. We can't have it because of Warren Beatty. So, but yeah, I do have a pretty decent sized Dick Tracy collection. The toys, the old comics, some of the more current ones that they produce every so often, but very rarely. Board games, statues, things like that. It's funny because I go to comic shows all the time and toy shows all the time. I always ask for Dick Tracy stuff. It's very rare anybody has any with them, and they always say, "Oh, I didn't bring it because I didn't think anyone would ask for it, but here's my card." And then they want me to call them after the show, and whenever I do that, they never have any Dick Tracy stuff. I don't know why they just don't be honest and say we have no Dick Tracy stuff. But I wound up wasting my time calling these people after shows and trying to see what they have, and they have nothing. It's a shame. I did hit the mother load on Dick Tracy toys not that long ago though. Went to Time Warp Collectibles, Time Warp Toys, something like that, in Lake Grove. You should check them out if you're looking for old toys. They have a ton. I bought like hundreds of dollars worth of old Dick Tracy toys from them not that long ago, and it was really a cool store. So just a heads up if you're looking to buy some old toys. But one of the things I like about Dick Tracy is how, for as colorful and cartoony as it is, there's a sense of realism to it because it's about a cop. There's no superheroes with powers. There's no, other than a watch that, there's no fancy technology. And that watch was like a walkie-talkie back in the day. It wasn't like an Apple Watch or anything. So I think it's cool to have a character that's like, even more so than like Batman, grounded in reality. It's just fun to watch. So, huffing and puffing a lot today. It's extra hot out. It's like, it's not even 9 in the morning yet. We're like close to 70 degrees, maybe over. So, it's not going well on the walk today for that reason. But anyway, there's a different block that I'm usually on. I'll show you the neighborhood real quick. So that's where we're walking today. I'm going to cross the street though, so I'm going to turn here. Another character similar to Dick Tracy, at least in terms of design, that I really like is the Question. He's another sort of unique character in that he's very street-based, very detective-based, but there's like a supernatural element to it and a science element to it. And I think that's a cool combination of characteristics. And I'm a big fan of that. I have a couple of pieces of art with the Question that I collect. I have almost every modern appearance of the Question, and some of the Golden Age run too, of some of the books he showed in, like he was a Charlton character. And I have a couple of those books too, like when he was a backup in the Blue Beetle comic. So that's another comic book character that is very underutilized, but I think would make for just like a great movie or TV show, because he's like a character that works in the shadows, big into conspiracies and unearthing conspiracy theories, and I think that would work for like a movie or something. Like, think about a DC Universe movie where you have your heroes, your Batman, your Superman, right? And they're fighting the big characters, the big villains. But in the shadows is the Question, trying to put the pieces together to find out why all these villains are coming out of the woodwork all at once. Where's the conspiracy theory there? And he's the one who unearths like the bigger scheme of whoever the villain is. I think it would be cool. Like I said, I'm a big fan of those kind of characters. The Question, I think, is the best detective in the DC universe, even more so than Batman. But those are just two characters that don't get a lot of love, but I think are really cool. Both Dick Tracy and the Question. So those are just some more characters that I spend some time collecting, memorabilia, comics, books, toys, whatever, what have you, that are a little less mainstream than your Superman, your Batman, your Spider-Mans, right? These are more niche characters, getting less love. We're getting ever closer to that Comic-Con in July, so I keep these walks going because I really got to get into shape. If I can't walk around the block in Long Island heat, how am I going to walk around San Diego for that show? So I got to up my game, maybe go for longer walks or something. But for now, try and get in a mile in every day. And talking about comics is the move. I think, speaking of comic books, yesterday was Wednesday, so I have a few more books to get through for this week, and then I can pick my book of the week for this week, and then maybe I'll talk about that either on the next walk or the walk after. But I'm still a little behind on reading this week. My real job got a little busy, and I couldn't spend as much time reading as I wanted. And also, speaking of comic books, I think I'm going to give Shazam 2 a try this week. I thought the first movie was okay. So, now that the new one is streaming, I'll watch it. I know it got terrible reviews, but what are you going to do? Still going to watch it. It's a comic book movie. I'm sure there's something positive to take away from it, but I'm not expecting much. So that's where we are on comic walks this week. Not much to talk about, but Again, these are just supposed to be quick videos anyway, so we don't have to spend a lot of time talking about comic books, just to, you know, have something to do while I walk, and that's why we're doing this. Hopefully you find it a little entertaining. But that's Comic Walks for today. We're filming this on a Thursday, so we're getting close to the weekend. Have a great weekend. Later.